Well, howdy, everybody. My name's Cooter Pickleberry. This is FloridaMan Cooking, and today we're going to make a quick and easy Yankee pot roast. I just got back from Europe at like midnight. Been going there a lot, too much lately for work, and I'm tired. Got a kid who's got baseball practice and an orthodontic appointment, a bunch of other stuff. So this is the kind of dish I make when I'm just out of time. It just goes in the crock pot, takes about 5 or 10 minutes to prep it. Sits in the crock pot all day, 6 to 8 hours, wherever you got on low, and then we eat, and it's really tasty. Everybody likes it. So stick with me. We'll go make some. Welcome aboard.
Alright, so we're going to start by turning on the crock pot to low, spraying with some cooking spray. This just makes it easier to clean up later. Throw some onions on the bottom. The meat's going to rest on that. And by doing that, you also make the cleanup a little easier. Cut up some taters using Yukon Gold, but that's just because they're on sale. You can use any potato, and you don't have to rinse them. The starch is good. It helps thicken up the sauce that you get at the end. And some onions, some carrots, some mushrooms. You can put whatever you want in there, though. If you have a need for sweet potatoes or rutabaga or any kind of root, it's good. Big old chuck roast. This one's about 3.5 pounds. I usually use 2. This is what they had today. It's got a lot of fat marbled in. It's pretty good stuff. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And then I always tend to put a little bit of rosemary on. I didn't have a whole lot left today. I got to buy some more rosemary, but a little bit of rosemary is pretty good stuff. You barely taste it, but I think it does add a little bit to the flavor profile. And we're just going to put all that in, pat it down. We'll stick some flour on top, and that flour just helps to get a good golden crust going once we brown this meat. Now, you can skip the browning process if you want. I like doing it. I think it helps a lot. But if you don't have time, you can just take this chuck roast, throw it on top of the onions, throw the rest of the stuff on, and walk away and come back later. If you cook it on low, it's good in 6-8 hours. High, you can do it in 4 to 6. If you go 12, you're fine. Nothing bad happens. So we're just going to season both sides of the meat a little bit. And it's literally just salt, pepper, and rosemary, and the secret ingredient that I show later. Once again, this is not a fancy pot roast. This is not the stuff you serve for Sunday dinner. This is the stuff you serve when you don't have time to cook. So before you take the kids to school in the morning, throw this in the pot and walk away and come back. You have a nice hot dinner. And by the way, the entire house smells good, and you can actually smell it down the street a little bit if you try. It's just absolutely delicious and so easy to do. You see my dog Pickles McFlipper sitting there. She likes me. She tried to get in the shower with me today. It was weird. So we turn on the stove. I got a stainless steel frying pan I use. I like that the best. You could do it with a cast iron if you wanted to, but I think stainless just cleans up easier and it does a real good job. Spray a little bit of duck fat in there. You could also use a high point oil like avocado oil or whatever you got, but I just like duck fat. So we get that warming up. It's all kind of melted down now. You could use beef tallow too if you wanted to. That wouldn't be a bad idea. And then we throw that big old chuck roast in there. And we're just going to do this browning thing. It's just a few minutes per side to brown it. That flour helps kind of make it a nice golden brown. You notice the flour is not perfectly coated and everything. Nothing about this is perfect, but that's not what's important. What's important is it tastes good, and it does. And on a night where you don't have time to cook, this stuff works great because it beats the heck out of going to fast food, except maybe for KFC because, everybody likes KFC. Well, at least I do. Or the Waffle House. Either one of those would be great. But you can't eat that all the time. So this is a little bit healthier, I think, and it's certainly easy to do. And literally we're talking 5 or 10 minutes of prep, and then it just sits on the counter until you get home. So it's great. Well, you don't have monkeys in the house. If you had monkeys, they could probably open it up and eat it, and that would be bad. But my dogs haven't figured out how to do that yet. So we just want to get every side a little bit brown. And you can see this is starting to fall apart, which also doesn't matter because it's going in the pot roast. It's going to braise all day. So it's basically like a soup. As long as you get the seasoning somewhere on the meat, it'll float around in the water and the beef stock and stuff we're using and give it a really good flavor. So you can see that nice, beautiful golden brown crust. And we're just going to hit that up on all sides and try to keep the meat from falling apart. But like I said, if it falls apart, big deal. It's going to be at the bottom of the crock pot. So you can see that I heated that thing up a little bit early before I made this meat. So it's already starting to steam. These things lose heat quick when you take the lid off. So we kind of try to minimize the lid. So I got the cooking spray in there, some onions down. The onions are a base for the meat. And that adds a little bit of flavor. But the main point is it just cleans up really easy. If you don't do this, you might be scrubbing that thing for a little bit. And that's no fun. Cooking's fun. Cleaning's not that much fun, at least for me. So we throw it on top of that bed of onions. And then we just start chucking stuff at it, and it's whatever you got. In my case, Yukon Gold potatoes, mushrooms, carrots, a little bit of beef stock to start it. And how much beef stock? Who knows? This stuff all releases liquid, so you could probably do less than I did there. That was probably a half a can. Of course, I prefer to use homemade beef stock, but I don't have any right now. That's coming. And then the secret ingredient is a bag of onion soup mix. And just dump that liberally on the meat. You can get a little bit, but it's all going to float around once you start cooking. So everything will taste like that. Stuff just kind of boils in its own juices and does what it does, and the flavor gets everywhere. So throw a bunch of onions, a bunch of carrots, a bunch of taters. You're going to dump a big chunk of mushrooms in there. Really the only thing limiting me here is the size of the crock pot. You want that lid to seal tight, so you can't put stuff up too high above it or it's not going to close. That's it. Walk away, come back. I don't know, it's probably 8-10 hours, something like that. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. You can thicken up that juice if you want with cornstarch. I think it's just fine this way. Just once again, this was an easy meal, not a beautiful meal. This is really good stuff. We'll do a real pot roast sometime that has a bunch of different ingredients and probably tastes a little bit better, but this is good enough and everyone loves it. It's fork tender, delicious. Throw a little bit of veggies each bite. And this is excellent camera work by the tripod. Kind of missed the whole thing here. It's where I was supposed to go ooh and ah, which I did, but you can't hear it or see it. There's 2 thumbs up. Good stuff. Now, if you want to plate it real pretty like, you can put it on something a little bit more decorative. That's a pretty good looking plate right there. And I swear you will eat it. And if you have leftovers, you'll eat it for breakfast or lunch tomorrow. It's good stuff. My wife's signing off. Well, thanks very much. God bless you. Hope to see you again soon.